Hey guys, this is Josh F151 Tech back with another video. In this video, I actually want to talk about the signal quality and the signal bars in particular when it comes to the T-Mobile 5G home internet. Or actually any cellular home internet, and basically any gateway device you have, any third-party gateway, or stock gateway. In my case, it's actually a third-party gateway. It's actually called a Chester Cheetah version 2 gateway slash modem. And I talk about it, a lot in my videos. It allows you to do things like band locking, tower locking, network mode switching, stuff like that, VPN, IMEI revisions, IMEI spoofing, stuff like that. I have more, videos on my channel talking about that kind of stuff. But I actually did make a video before talking about this, but I wanted to make a more detailed video about it, and see if more people actually experience this than just myself. So what actually happens is when I actually have this gateway. First, I'll start off by saying I actually have the third-party gateway that I have, the Chester Cheetah version 2 gateway slash modem, or whatever you want to call it. I actually have this hooked up to a waveform 4x4 antenna that's actually up in the attic. This cable back here, or those cables back there, are actually running up in the attic, which is like right above the floor here, so it's not really that far. But I did have to do some drilling and stuff, but it wasn't really, that big of a deal. But anyway, I wanted to talk about what happens, when it's bad weather here. So basically, these lights right here, these are the indicator lights. I turn the light off in the room to actually make it, show better. So this is the power light right here. And then over here, this is the Wi-Fi light, but that's actually off. Because I'm not actually using the Wi-Fi. I'm actually using the Wi-Fi that I have myself. I have a Google Nest Wi-Fi Pro 6E mesh Wi-Fi system, and I have like 4 nodes around the house, so that's what I'm using. So I just turn the Wi-Fi off, and that's the 4G LTE signal, or the 4G signal, whatever you want to call it. And then that's the 5G signal, in the like the orange color right there. So that's actually a weak 5G signal. That's a weak signal, but I've talked about that before. That doesn't really matter because I still get 500 to 600 on the download. So I'm not really worried about it being a weak signal. But the weird thing is, it's probably not going to do it now when I'm making this video, because it picks when it wants to do it. It's kind of like iffy when it does it. But I've noticed that the when we have like bad weather, like storms or wind, or a lot of rain, or just bad weather in general. It's summertime right here in South Jersey right now, in South Jersey, and we're actually getting like tropical storm winds, like from that hurricane or whatever's going on. And we've had a lot of wind and rain recently. And I noticed with the with the wind and the rain that we've had the last couple of days, I've noticed from time to time this actually switches from a weak 5G signal to a solid blue 5G signal, which is actually a strong 5G signal. So I don't really know what goes on there. I don't really know why that happens. I obviously, I think it's, it has something to do with the weather. But I just wanted to, let you guys know about this. I figured that I would talk about this on the channel more. I did make another video on it. I actually deleted that video. I made that video a few months back when I still had this up in the attic. I bring it down on the second floor now, and I have a new setup going now. So it's actually better ventilated down here than it was up in the attic. So and I also do have a fan over here blowing on the side of it, because that's actually where the I want to keep saying micro SD card slot, because I use a lot of cameras, but It's actually the SIM card tray right there. I don't know if you guys can really see it because it's dark in here, um, but anyway, you know, I've talked about that before on my channel. You know, the more ventilated and the better, you know, you keep your gateway cool, you know, the more reliable it's going to be. You know, it's going to have, you know, more reliable speeds, you know, more reliable ping, you know, download, upload, you know, that kind of stuff. You know, so the cooler you keep it, you know, obviously the better it's going to work for you. So, actually, this is a good example. It's actually doing it right now. So it's doing what I just said. You know, it's, as you can see there. Those are all solid blue, and then in a minute it'll go back. As you can see, it's starting to fade. So it's going to go back to a weak 5G signal again in a minute. Let's give it a minute here. And like I said, you know, this is mainly due to the bad weather that we've been having. So I think that and as you can see, you know, it did go back to the weak 5G signal. So it doesn't actually stay at the strong 5G signal. It stays for like a few, you know, seconds there, as you guys could see, you know, like a minute or so, and then it, you know, goes back to the weak 5G signal. So I thought that I would make a video about this, and actually, you know, I'm glad that it actually did it while I was on this video. Because it doesn't actually do it all the time. It does it, you know, like if I get a big, you know, we get a big gust of wind or something, which I can actually hear it out there. It is actually, you know, howling around quite a bit out there right now. But it does it, you know, if we get a big gust of wind, we get a bad storm, you know, stuff like that. So I'm kind of thinking that, you know, that it does the same thing that an actual cell phone does. You know, basically, when it's bad weather, you know, your cell phone signal is not going to be as good either because it's coming from the tower, you know, to your phone. You know, it's coming from the tower, you know, to your phone, you know, wherever you're at. You know, if you're in a building, you're in a house, you know, something like that. You know, even with the, you know, waveform 4x4 antenna that I have up in the attic, you know, even if I had that, you know, pointed outside, you know, I've tried it outside countless, in countless areas. I talk about that on my channel as well. And actually, up in the attic is actually where it gets the best speeds. I get 500 to 600 on the download. If you guys haven't watched my videos, you know, my speed test videos, you know, I can, you know, recommend you guys check them out. You know, they're on my channel. But I'm glad that it did it in this video. You know, as you can see, you know, it's not really doing it, you know, too much. But, you know, I just wanted to, you know, like, talk about this because I want to see if anybody else has had this problem, not only with the, you know, not only with third-party gateways, but also with the, you know, stock equipment. You know, like if you have a stock gateway, you know, whether it be from T-Mobile, Verizon, AT&T, you know, any, you know, stock cellular gateways, you know, not only third-party gateways. So I believe that it would actually do the same thing, you know, if I had a stock gateway as well. You know, I believe that it would do that. And, you know, there's not really anything you can do about it. You know, there's not really anything you can do about it because it's the elements, you know, it's the weather. You know, it's kind of like a TV antenna. I've talked about it before on my channel. I actually tried to put a TV antenna, long story short, I tried to put a TV antenna inside. And our house has a lot of metal, like it has a lot of thick walls. As you guys can see over here, you know, we have a lot of thick walls, thick doors, and stuff. And we also have a drop ceiling in most of the house, as you guys can see. And there's metal, you know, you can see right there, you know, that's all metal, you know, around there. And we actually have, on top of drop ceilings, we also have like a thick, you know, ceiling like above the drop ceiling. So I tried to, you know, use an indoor antenna and it wasn't picking up the local channels. Like it wasn't getting ABC, it wasn't getting channel 12, it wasn't getting, you know, like CBS, like the local channels, you know, it wasn't getting the local channels. So I actually had to put an antenna outside, and I can actually show you guys that. I actually have the antenna. I can show you right here. You guys can see that. It's actually right there. It's actually pointing out toward the road over there. But it does actually get really good signal out there, and it gets really good reception. We get like 80-some channels, so that's definitely not bad at all. But yeah, that's basically the video, though. I just wanted to talk about this, and actually, like I said, let me actually shut this door so it's not as loud. Um, but there's a bunch of like cicadas and stuff out there, so I don't want it, to be loud for the video. But it's basically the same principle, when it comes to a TV antenna. It's kind of like a TV antenna. If you have cellular home internet, basically, if it's bad weather, it's possible. Excuse me, it's possible that it's going to be choppy. It's not going to probably cut completely out like back in the analog days, when it cut it out completely. But it's going to it's going to chop up and stuff, and there's not really anything you can do about that. And actually, as you guys can see, it's actually doing it again. So, and sometimes it also does this, like sometimes it'll go to the 4G signal, and it'll actually drop the 5G signal. It actually dropped the 5G signal there for a second. But it's nothing, that's nothing to be concerned with, because if I get, if I only get 4G speed, for a second like that, and then it goes back to the 5G, I'm not really that worried about that. But, I just wanted to, bring this video, out in the open. I wanted to let you guys know about this, that you can, somewhat expect this, if you have if you have any cellular home internet. I wanted to actually talk about it because I wanted to see if I'm the only one that actually experiences this or not, whether it be you have a third-party gateway, or if you have a stock, gateway from T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T, for cellular home internet. So I'm basically, making a video, to also talk about it, so you can be aware of it. But I'm also, trying to find out more information at the same time. I just want to know, if anybody else has experienced this. And, if you have, definitely let me know, down below in the comments, for sure, because I definitely want to know, if I'm the only one, that is experiencing this or not. And, I've talked about it before. We get a weak 5G signal in our area. There's not really anything I can do about that. And Verizon doesn't even offer 5G home internet in our area because they said it's not really, it's basically like still in beta, basically is what they told me, and I told them, I talked about that in another video as well. I went to the Verizon store, and I told them, I said, well, T-Mobile offers 5G home internet, and then, the customer service rep, they kind of got an attitude with me, and they told me, well, we're not T-Mobile. So, but, I just, figured that I would ask, why they don't offer it here. And they said, well, they said it's basically, still in beta. It's basically, still, in the beta stages. It's not really, ready to take over, 4G or 4G LTE yet. And a lot of people have actually been saying that. And we've actually had the T-Mobile 5G home internet going on, 3.5 or more years now. And we have, had our ups and downs with it, like this, for example, stuff like this, like when the weather is bad, but I don't really think that there's anything I can do about that, even if, like I said, even if I did put the antenna, physically outside, I don't think that there's anything that I can really do about the elements. That's the thing. I mean, some people, they might, have a strong signal, and then, like when they get bad weather, they might have a strong signal all the time. And then when they get bad weather, it might, go down to weak, or, it might, go down to, like a medium signal or a weak signal, from a strong signal. So, basically, in my case, what happens is, like I said, most of the time we get a weak 5G signal, and we get a strong, 4G signal or 4G LTE, whatever you want to call it. But most of the time, we're getting a weak 5G signal. That's basically all I'm able to get, unless it's bad weather. It sometimes goes from a weak 5G signal, to a strong 5G signal, but it never stays there. And I've actually noticed that I've moved the antenna around around like up in the attic before, and I've actually noticed that I can get it to stay at a strong 5G signal sometimes. Like if I move it in a certain, area, I've noticed that I can get a strong 5G signal, but I've talked about that in my other video as well, that I have on my channel. I can get that, I can get it to stay at a strong 5G signal at all times. But I've noticed that if I have a weak 5G signal, where it's actually at right now up in the attic, I've noticed that I actually get, like 500 to 600 on the download, compared to when I have a strong 5G signal, I only get like 200 to 300. So basically, signal quality, doesn't really matter. Signal quality, it doesn't, really seem to matter. And I made a video, like a separate video, actually talking about that. In my case, like I said, when we get bad storms, we get wind, rain, thunderstorms, it's going to go from a weak 5G signal to a great 5G signal, a strong 5G signal, where it's going to fluctuate. It's going to go from, strong 5G signal to weak 5G signal, like I showed you guys, it did in this video, like twice. So, but it doesn't do it all the time. Like you can see right here, it's not really that windy out there right now. I don't really hear it, howling around, like it was. Actually, speaking of, it's doing that now as I talk about it. But basically, I just wanted to talk about this more. I figured that I would make a more detailed video, a little bit, longer video on it, and talk about it more, just to see, what you guys experience, if you guys experience this, with the, whether it be you have a strong 5G signal or a weak 5G signal, if it, like fluctuates, when it's bad weather, if it goes from a weak 5G signal, in my case, it would be going from a weak 5G signal, to a strong 5G signal in bad weather. But for, other people's cases, it might be they have a strong 5G signal, or a 4G signal, it can be, either one. But we actually get a strong 4G signal here all the time, so that's definitely a good thing. But, some people might not even be able to get a strong 4G signal. Most places can nowadays, because 4G and 4G LTE, that's pretty much established now. But like with the 5G, like I was saying, the 5G is basically not all the way there yet. It's still in the beta stages, and stuff like that. That's why Verizon doesn't even offer it in our area, for the cellular home internet. They told me the only thing that I can actually get is 4G or 4G LTE, home internet. So, and I knew that I wouldn't get, as fast as speeds with a 4G, signal, or 4G LTE, whatever you want to call it. I just knew that I wouldn't, and I looked it up, and they said, that I could average, around maybe like 1 to 200 on the download, and I was like, no. I was like, I'll just, continue to keep the T-Mobile 5G home internet, and, go from there. Like I said, we have had it going on 3.5 years now, actually longer now. But the thing is, I haven't had, problems with it to the point where I actually want to, get rid of it. I haven't had problems, to where, I actually feel like getting rid of it. I've had some bumps and bruises and, stuff like that, when I first started with them, with their stock equipment, and everything like that, and I go, more into detail on my channel about stuff like that, if third-party equipment, would be worth it for you or not. It's very area specific. It's a very area specific, service, and I, talk about that more on my channel as well. But it's very area specific. Like, basically, for example, if you live somewhere like London, or somewhere where it's constantly raining all the time, or it's cloud covered or something like that, you might not be able to get away with using this service because it's not a cable, service like in London or somewhere, or France or something like that, or where it's, bad weather all the time, constantly windy, stuff like that. This service might not be for you, because the thing is, like, when it's bad weather, it's going to affect the service. It's not cable, it's not, anything like that. It's coming, in your house, basically through the air, like your cell phone gets, the signal. It's basically the same thing. It's just that you're using a cell phone, signal for your home internet. It's basically being broadcasted from the tower, to your, your gateway, and then it's being, rebroadcasted into a Wi-Fi signal or Ethernet signal. So, that's basically what it is. You're using, cellular, internet for your home internet. So it's not going to always be, like I said, it's not going to always be boom, 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 perfect. Is basically what I'm saying. So if you guys are looking for something that's going to be, nearly perfect, then, this is definitely not it. I'm just going to let you guys know that right now. But, like I said, I just wanted to get this video out there and talk about this. I just wanted to, let you guys know about this, talk about it a little bit more, and, also see, if anybody else has these problems as well. Like I said, I'm sure that I'm not really the only one that has this issue, because there's not really anything you can do to stop Mother Nature. Like I said, that was a perfect example, with the outdoor TV antenna. I had to, put an outdoor TV antenna out there because of the house, materials and stuff. And, with the, wind and the rain, having an outdoor TV antenna, isn't really the best. But also, even if you have one inside, when it's a bad weather day, you're still going to have problems. You're still going to have problems. Like I said, it might not cut out, basically all the way, like back in the analog days. But it is going to, sometimes be a choppy picture, when it's really windy out, whether, it doesn't matter if there's any trees around or not, it's gonna chop up, a little bit if it's a bad weather day, if it's storming, if it's raining, if it's snowing, sleeting, basically, anything, cloud coverage, it's basically the same thing, with, cellular home internet. So, but definitely let me know, guys, down below in the comments, if you guys experience this. Like I said, for me, like I said, I just talked about it, for me, we get a weak 5G signal, basically all the time. And then when we get bad weather, like for a couple of days or so, or a few hours or something, it goes from weak 5G signal to a strong 5G signal. And then, it'll go back to a weak 5G signal again, after the bad weather is gone, or after it's, cleared up and everything. And sometimes it doesn't affect it at all, sometimes if it's bad weather, it doesn't affect it at all. As you guys can see, it's not really doing anything right now, it's still on the weak 5G signal, and it's been that way for a few minutes here now. So, it doesn't really affect anything, but I just wanted to, ask, and I figured that I would make a video about it. But I mean, I really shouldn't say that it doesn't affect anything. Let me actually take that back. I shouldn't actually say that it doesn't affect anything, because when it does do that, it actually does, make the speeds a little bit slower, because it's basically, trying to, reconnect to the, the signal, because it takes it, and actually it's doing it again right now. But it does, it does that, but the thing is, it doesn't really affect it to the point of actually, like making the internet stop working. But it does actually make it, a little bit slower, until it, goes back to, being the weak 5G signal again. So, and as you guys can see, it is doing it again, and it actually just went back to the weak 5G signal. So, I'm really glad that it actually did this a couple of times in the video, so I can actually, show you guys on the video, that it actually really does do it. Obviously I wouldn't, make something like that up, but I'm, really glad that it actually did do it, a couple of times in this video, so I can, show you guys. So, I just want to know, basically down below in the comments, I just want to know, you guys' thoughts on this. Like I said, if this happens to you, definitely let me know, down below in the comments. I really want to know. I definitely want to make sure that I'm not the only one, that this happens to. Maybe, if I am the only one, maybe I have to move the antenna around, to try to get it to stop doing that. I'm not really so sure. So, definitely let me know, down below in the comments. That would definitely be helpful. So, but like I said, yeah, guys, that's basically the video. I will be making more videos, so definitely stick around for that. But like I said, I just wanted to get this video out there. And if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. And until next time, guys.